Welcome to the Busted Open Podcast, the Masters Class. And here we are with the Masters of the Ring, Mark Henry, Tommy Dreamer, Bully Ray. And if you listen to our live show on SiriusXM Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to noon, then you're going to know our topic today is something that we've talked about a lot on Busted Open. Bully, I know there's a line that you use when it comes to certain fans. Respectful fans will get what they want. Disrespectful fans will get what they deserve. And this is all coming from a recent tweet from Ria Ripley about fans at airports. And let me read this tweet before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's show. And it said this: people need to respect that no means no. At airports, do not follow me outside. Today has put me off completely. I will not sign anything that isn't a personal photo of us anymore. Hate me, I don't care. Disagree with me, try putting yourselves in our shoes for one bloody day. Now, this tweet, by the way, has well over 4 million views already. And then, in the press, she had this to say. And this was also tweeted out as well. Hate me, I don't care. And this is what they're calling that tweet that she sent out. It's sort of an entitled thing. When some fans expect us to just do it and they start making a fuss if we say no, she began. So I had a fan follow me outside the airport today because I said no to them because I didn't have the time. It was all of the same stuff they wanted signed. It was one fan specifically. He's notorious. He's always at the airport getting our signatures and selling them on eBay. We know his face. We know who he is. He was the main instigator. He followed me out and others followed him too. And they all followed me as I'm trying to find my Uber. So I'm trying to tell them no, and they're all being persistent. And I ended up getting lost. I had no idea where my Uber was, and I ended up down the stairs away from everyone else, and I'm just surrounded by these 5 guys, and they're just hassling me. I don't think people understand how threatening that is, Ria continued, especially because you don't know what's going to happen. I don't know these people. So this is a bigger issue, and this is about fans hassling wrestlers at airports. As we all know, a couple weeks ago, there was an incident that was all over social media of Rey Mysterio turning down fans, which completely was taken out of context. So that's going to be our topic here today. And I think it goes back, Bully, to that line you constantly say on our SiriusXM show. And you've probably been saying for years that respectful fans will get what they want. Disrespectful fans will get what they deserve.
Yeah, I mean, I've stuck by that from day one, and I'm happy to report that 90% of fans that I interact with are respectful, and I sign just about anything. I take pictures with everybody, whether or not I'm the most loved guy in the ring at the time or the most hated guy in the ring at the time is the guy that you're going to meet at the grocery store or the airport. I kind of take what I do beyond the wrestling ring. This way, your experience in quote unquote real life kind of mirrors what you're seeing on television. But if you come up to me and you say, hey, Bully, how you doing? I'm a fan of yours. I'm a fan of your work or whatever. Can I take a picture? Can I have an autograph? The answer is yes. If you come up to me and you're rude, disrespectful, or act entitled, like I have to give you my autograph or I have to take a picture of you, you're going to get a piece of my mind. And I think we all know, you guys know, that a piece of my mind comes with some harsh language at times. And I'm not afraid to tell you to fuck off to your face, no matter who you are. When it comes to the whole Ria situation, I'm going to kind of lay back for a second because I'd love to hear what Tommy and Mark have to say before I go into my diatribe about this, because I look at this from 2 different points of view. So, Mark, I see you shaking your head. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'd love to go first. People know pretty much now, especially that guy that Ria's talking about. I probably know who it is, by sight. because all of them have got to talk. I will stop and I will say, listen, I'm not signing anything outside of a paid signing. If you want to take a photo with me, come on, let's get it in. Because once I start walking, I am not stopping. All right? And we get it done. You come to the airport with 5 action figures and luggage and 150 different pieces of photos and different things, and you expect all of they run after you. They'll pull their luggage right in front of you and stop your forward progress. A absolute no-no. I have grabbed luggage and thrown that shit as far as I can fucking throw it.
I've seen it.
Do not impede my progress. And for all of you bastards, yes, I said it. You corner a woman that don't know you and you follow them so closely that they mistaken where they're supposed to be going. Think about your wife, your mother, your sister, your daughter. These women deserve the respect that they should be given without you pushing them and making them nervous. After all, you are men following a woman that you don't know, that just randomly, regardless of what they do with their professional lives, does not give you the right to do what you're doing. If I had been there, it would have been a different case. I'm asking all the boys across pro wrestling, when the girls get off the plane with you, or you see them, and ask them, are they good? You want me to walk you to your place? Be responsible and respectful for our family. This is our road family. And I know for a fact that Tommy and Bully is kind of old school, but we've all walked the girls to their cars at night. We help them with their bags in the airport. We help them get from point A to point B. I think that in this new world of gimme, fast, microwave, we've gotten away from that. I think this is a Ria's try for help to ask people to look out for them more. The people, the strangers, stop it. Stop it. It's not fair. If I'm gonna tell you, if my big black ass walked up to your wife in the grocery store and said, "Hey, nice bag," and I started following her around, there would be a damn scene. The police would be called. Those women in the airport are no different. You have got to be more respectful. You can't follow people around and put angst on them to where they mistaken where they are, where they're going. So
I want to jump in for a second, Mark, because I have a question for you and for everybody here. And I first got a whiff of these types of things when I worked for the NFL, and there would just be mobs of people waiting when the NFL players would get off the plane. Like, how? Like, how do they know? Like, like, I understand, like, wrestling's coming to town. Like, how do they know what flights? Like, because
they don't. They don't, Dave. They don't know what flights. Some of them do know the flights because they have airport hookups, and they go, "Hey, is Brian Higginbotham flying from San Antonio to so and so?" Yeah. What time? And they ask, but they all know. We get off from work on Thursday morning. We go to the airport, and they're there in the town that we fly out of. The town that you fly in, they will take off from work if they have jobs, which most of them don't. They will come to the airport at 9 o'clock, and they will just sit there at baggage claim and wait till 3, 4, 5 o'clock all day long. And then they'll bring the kids. Oh, no school for you today. The wrestlers are coming in. And I need you to go ask Bully Ray for his autograph. They use the kids.
I told you my Undertaker story.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. I'm sitting right next to Taker at baggage claim. Little girl, couldn't have been more than 8, 9, 10 years old. Little cute little summer dress, her hair in pigtails. Walks up to Undertaker with a baseball card. Can you please sign this for me? You could tell immediately that the little girl had no idea who the Undertaker was. And Taker said, sweetie, do you know who I am? And she's like, no. And he said, okay. And he takes the trading card and he writes something on it. I knew exactly what he wrote on it. And he handed it back to the little girl, and he handed it back face down so she couldn't read it. And she goes, and he said, now you go give that card back to whoever asked you to sign it. And I believe it was her dad. She walked it back, and the dad read the card, and you should have seen his face. Grown-ass man sending a tiny little girl who was scared to talk to big, bad, mean Mark Calloway, the Undertaker, wearing his sunglasses. So that's what the lengths that they go to just to get what they want. Very selfish moves.
Bully, like when I worked for the NFL and I would go to the Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame every year, I would see a lot of kids outside with footballs. And they'd be waiting, and I would see like the Hall of Famers and football players just like walk by, and I was like, wow, how can they do that? Those are children. And then, somebody smartened me up. They're kids, but they're not asking for the autographs. These memorabilia companies give like those kids like $5 or $10 to stand outside the Hall of Fame.
Per ball.
Yeah, and they say I was like, really? And they said, look at the footballs. And I didn't notice all the footballs were deflated. They weren't like, they didn't have air in them. They were all deflated because it's easier to sign. I was like, wow, it's now obviously they know this, but I was like, at first I thought that the football players were being rude. How could they walk by kids? But then these kids are being hired by memorabilia companies to get those autographs. I mean, how low? Like you said, boy, how low to have a young child do that for you? It's disgusting.
Ray is one of the most well-respected guys in pro wrestling. I've said this before, and I'm not exaggerating. Rey Mysterio is the nicest wrestler that I've ever met. I would put Owen Hart in that category because Owen had a heart, but Owen would even play practical jokes on fans. So Ray would never do that. You know what I'm saying? Ray is just the salt of the earth. He's a very nice man. And for those people to attack him, which is what it was a verbal attack, as well as they tried to attack his, they tried to attack him as a man.
Try to attack
as a public figure. They tried to attack that. Embarrass him, shame him for not doing what they wanted him to do. It backfired because the fan base is of the same thought that we are. And they came to his aid and go, hey, he didn't have his mask on. One, you knew that. Two, he said, I'll sign one. And they wanted him to sign multiples. And then on top of that, when he says, okay, I'm done, and he do it just like you did with Ria, now you start to get pushy. What gives you the idea that it's okay for you to go, well, you're not going to sign for your fans? You're not a fan. You're an opportunist. You're a business person. And that's where I feel like is the problem. Too much entitlement. They should have a phone number in the airport. If you are being harassed, that you can call that number in the airport, because I'm tired. The law protects the weak. There's a certain way the law is great, but there also is a way that the law is so I can't even come up with a word to describe how I feel, Dave, when I'm helpless. I'm not helpless. I'm the farthest thing from this planet from being weak and helpless. But the law will handcuff you and make you docile, make you have to stand there and take it. Something's got to be done.
This is a lot. One thing for Bully and for Mark, you guys have been blessed at times to be heels. If I'm Ria, I turn and say, I don't sign for anybody because I'm a bad person. That's my character. I've always been the babyface, except for a lot of the people that ask me to sign like that. As performers, we can always tell when people give us the look. I just got off an airplane. I have a hat on and I have a mask, and everybody's freaking out because Chaz Palminteri's on the same flight. This happened Sunday. And I literally be like, everyone's like, that's him. What's his name? And they all just go to their phone. I walk past them to go to the bathroom, but I have to come back for my luggage. I took my mask off. And as they're about to approach Chaz Palminteri, some guy goes, holy shit, Tommy Dreamer. And they quickly take the picture. Can we take a picture? One person who I know had no clue who the hell I was. Can we take a picture? Sure. I will take a picture with everybody. I really will. Now it goes to the autograph and the memorabilia. We are blessed as performers that people actually want that. But then you're also talking to somebody. There's people that make a living for that. There's a massive reason why I don't do autograph signings. And people ask me to do signings all the time. And I'm like, number one, I like to wrestle. And I still am very active wrestling. And I will sit there and sign before a show. And then I will wrestle. I look at that as my extra money. Because I know one day I'm not going to be able to wrestle ever again. And then how am I going to go out and make a little bit of extra cash? Is by doing these signings. This goes all the way back. This isn't a new thing. I can remember this as far as ECW. Florida, Fort Lauderdale was one of the worst. When Bubba talked about Pittsburgh, I remember going down that escalator and you would literally see everybody rise like zombies. Here they come. And again, blessed that, but then like back then you didn't understand the seller's market. During the pandemic, every merchandise, every memorabilia, that all went up. Like massive. People will tell me how much a me and Jeff Hardy figure is online. And to be honest, like wrestlers get paid to get their autographs. There was one kid in Florida. Was friends with MVP, and I liked him. He was a fan. He's now passed away. And I went up to him and I said, yo, dude, you sell this? If you lie to me and I feel you're lying, I won't sign for you ever again. And he goes, yeah, I sell these. I go, cool, man. Give me what you got. Because he didn't lie to me. And I actually became friends with the guy. It's been going on forever. I recently saw, per that Ria Ripley thing, Lance Storm and Mark Madden going at it, like online. At the airports, Los Angeles is bad. Randomly Philadelphia, not that I fly into there, Philly's starting to get bad after all these shows. It's airports and hotels. I will not sign at either places unless I really do feel that you are a fan. When we were in San Antonio, I couldn't believe how many fans are there for a WWE event. And I was like, where's WWE security? And everybody, I've always, again, been the babyface. And I like people. I also know people. And a guy came up to me. He was like, "Hey man, can you record this bite for my thing?" And I was just like, "No. If you want to take a picture, I'll take a picture." And then he's like, "Hey, I want to give you something. You offer me a hat." I said, "To be honest, dude, I have so many hats. I don't want to waste your merch. I appreciate it so much, but I don't want." He's like, "Oh, cool, man." No, we took a picture. He was awesome. Somebody showed our video in that interaction. I saw it online. There was a person in the corner filming us, and you could hear audio. And I was like, why would somebody do that? Like, that made no sense to me, in case like maybe I was a dick, or I don't know. Every case scenario is different. Dave, you were just with us in Vegas. You saw early on in the day, there was people hanging out there, and we're all within a, the same scenario, same spot. I've talked to all those people, very, very nice people. They know now that I won't sign. I will take a picture, I will bullshit, and I'll be very nice. And the one guy who's the leader of them all was like, "No, I'll get Dreamer later." And he went upstairs and he paid for it. And I was like, "Dude, you got anything else? No problem." And I don't care if, like, I believe, like, I've done this many times. "Oh, I got like 10 items. How much do you want me to sign?" Usually it'd be like full price. Or the other half of it, if I see someone's just like a straight up fan, and I'll be like, whatever. Like, give me for 5 items. You just got 5 for free because you're a fan. Every situation is different. When you're sending the kid, when you just get sent those glossy, clear mats to sign, or can you just sign this black thing with a paint pen that says ECW in the middle? And because then they go out and they sell it. And it's wrong for so many different levels. And it's cool that people want that, but I mean, now there's virtual signings, there's all these different things, there's conventions, how people can meet their wrestlers. If you're rude, forget it. That's a whole other story. Going back to like what Mark said, Dave, you were there. Mickey had her son. I had security. 3 people walk her to her room. When we were in Atlanta, you were there, Dave. I made sure somebody waited for, I want to say, Gia Miller, because she had to stay late to do something. And I had people walk her to her car, security. And forget about female. There was also a kid who was an extra and his car broke down and he's in downtown Atlanta in desolate area. And I was like, "Yo, dude, do you want to like just come back to the hotel? It's 1 block away. Your friends can pick you up there." And I go, "This isn't like, it's late at night. After 2:00, no neighborhood is good." And I was like, "Why don't you just come wait up there?" And then he was like, "No." And then I went back in the building and I told security, "This kid's going to sit in here until his ride gets here." Because they have an hour drive because his car broke. He was just an extra. I walked with Mickey James and Gail Kim, same place, up the street. And they're like, "No, Dreamer, don't worry. We got it." No. And I go, "Cool. Then there's safety in numbers for me, and you guys could protect me." When you're at a hotel, when you're at a thing, the airports, you're probably not going to get signatures anymore. Another thing that cuts into business, and if this is also a podcast about business, and I don't understand this new trend, and this goes more for wrestlers, I get asked, like, do indies, like, and they're like, "Hey, can you do a signing?" Which is usually like a fixed rate. But then what does most people do? "Can you sign all these?" And those signing all these, they go out there and sell. I've been asked to do a signing, and then they've asked me to hand like 50 pictures after my signing.
Let me just let me help you paint your word picture for our listeners.
Okay.
And so Dave understands also. Dave, so you'll get a promoter who will hire us, me, Tommy, or Mark. And can you come and do a 2-hour autograph session for this amount of money? Yes, we can. So we come in. After about an hour and 15 minutes, let's say there's a lull in the line, right? And you don't have anybody in front of you, they'll take a stack of 50 pictures and put it in front of you and ask you to just sign all those pictures so they can sell them at a different time. The argument is the wrestler looks at it as, no, I'm here to sign for the fans that are showing up. And then the promoter is saying, well, I've paid you X amount of dollars for 2 hours, so you sign whatever I ask you to sign. I don't do that. They get an absolute no from me, and they know up front from me that I will not do that. So I just wanted to clarify that what Tommy was trying to tell you, give you an example. So
you're not getting, so really quick, so I understand. So you're not getting of those, like, let's say it's 100 pictures he throws in front of you when there's lulls. So you don't make any money off those pictures. That's all part of, like, to them, the package of you being there for the 2 hours that they have you there.
No, as a matter of fact, I think they hope that the line dies down a little bit so they can get those extra 100 pictures signed.
Because what they also do, they get pre-orders that people have already paid for these. The other part of it, and there's this new trend, and I get asked all the time, they're like, how much for an autograph? I'm sorry, how much to come wrestle and I keep your autograph money? And I'll be like, excuse me? And I'll be like, well, let's say it's $1 for me to wrestle and $1 for do an autograph signing session. So, and they're like, well, no, we like to compensate for you coming in and help pay for our expenses. We want that. And I'll be like, okay, well, when you go to work, how much money do you give your boss that day? For gas, for anything? And they'll be like, well, that's kind of what like we do. I was like, cool. Well, then you're not going to do it with me. And kudos that if wrestlers go and do that, but no, that's not a thing to be done. You don't pay to go to work. If it's, you want me to do an autograph signing and you want me to wrestle, that's $2. Or you want to maybe do a split. Everything is negotiable, but then note that your rate is going to be higher. But like, hey, I want a piece of you. And like, well, then they're always like, well, how can we compensate for you coming into our show? And I'm like, motherfucker, it's called the gate. How many people I bring in? That's your compensation. So if you draw a really, really good house off of me, should I say, well, then now I need more money? Because no, then the wrestler would be the scumbag. And I've dealt with, listen, I've been doing this a very, very long time. I've been independent and I love it. And I have a whole list of really, I have you in my phone. I write your name and then I'll write like good guy, bad guy, don't work for them. And it's it. And I don't give people other second chances. Bully knows this very, very much. Once you cross me, you're done. But there's all these situations like that. Every situation is different. We're talking about the memorabilia market. The memorabilia market is very, very hot. Wrestlers, you're taking it out of your own pocket. And it's also like every situation, yes, is going to be different. Like Dave, you used the Rick Cerrone with the Yankees. I used Bob Backlund. I wasn't selling that stuff. But for that, and we weren't being like annoying people to try to get that. When I get off of an airplane, I'm tired and I'm in a lot of pain. And then, yes, I will always be nice. But if then you're going to, if 5 dudes surrounded me, cool. I'm going to yell for help and then I'm going to start swinging. That's it. And you'll have the video cameras to prove that you're being confronted outside an airport.
I think you have to, it comes down to respecting somebody and you have to respect the no. If Ria Ripley saying no, you have to respect that no. And, you know, like, I think all of your instances that all 3 of you are brought up, you know, I think you have to look at it in a human way. They're not there. A celebrity is not there for your entertainment. When you purchase a movie ticket or purchase a ticket to an event, then they perform for you. Once you're outside of that venue, it is not their responsibility to perform for you or do what you want. So you have to respect their yes or respect their no.